Facial recognition, an increasingly popular technology used to unlock your phone, identify people at airports and schools, and even find criminal suspects. Every technology is deployed into a complex social context shaped by structural inequity and often without consideration for the impact it may have on real people. While it may seem harmless in some cases, like when we use it to unlock our phones with ease, facial recognition not only misidentifies black faces at much higher rates, but law enforcement is also deploying the technology disproportionately on black communities, which have historically been and are currently being harmed by the structural racism ingrained in the criminal justice system. There are multiple issues with police use of facial recognition technology. One problem is that facial recognition technology is flawed and frequently misidentifies suspects, especially if they aren't white men. In multiple studies, facial recognition algorithms have been shown to be most accurate for white men and significantly less accurate for women and people of color, with black women being misidentified 34% of the time. Recently, Michael Oliver and Robert Williams were both misidentified by Detroit police facial recognition technology and wrongfully arrested. Oliver was charged with felony larceny after Detroit police used facial recognition on phone video to identify him, despite obvious differences between him and the person in the video. Fortunately, after his lawyer pointed this out to the prosecutor, the charges were dropped. Robert Williams was arrested for shoplifting on the day before his 42nd birthday. When he pointed out he was clearly not the man in the surveillance footage, officers continued to hold him for 30 hours after his arrest. Williams' arrest broke his 4-year record of perfect work attendance, and now his 5-year-old daughter plays games pretending her father is stealing things and pretends to lock him up. Months later, Detroit's police chief admitted that their facial recognition misidentifies suspects 96% of the time, with the technology being used almost exclusively on black suspects. Out of the 70 cases in which it was used, 68 times it was used on black faces. The other 2 times? Unknown. Even if facial recognition was accurate for all demographics, the fact that it is used inside of an already systemically racist policing system guarantees that the technology will perpetuate a racist agenda. Surveillance systems have been historically used to target and oppress black people. For example, in 1713, New York City passed a lantern law, which required only black, mixed, and indigenous people to carry a candle at night, allowing whites to enforce slave systems and incarceration. During World War II, IBM's punch card and card sorting technology facilitated both Jewish and Japanese incarceration in concentration camps. More recent examples include the surveillance of civil rights leaders in the 1950s, the NYPD's illegal targeting of Muslims in the 2000s, and ICE's current use of facial recognition and cell-stooping technologies to target immigrants for deportation. Facial recognition technologies built from faces taken from social media are even being used to identify and target protesters. Black communities have been consistently overpoliced and criminalized in the United States for hundreds of years, so facial recognition technology that operates off of existing biased records will only exacerbate existing systemic injustice. If this technology continues to be used by police in the way it has been, it will undoubtedly continue to inconvenience and endanger black communities and people of color. Across the nation, activists are calling for the banning of facial recognition in policing. In the coming years, policy and law limiting its reach must be put in place.